Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Unreal Engine live stream. I'm your host Alexander Pascal, and once again we're telling jokes just before we turn on the camera.
That's
so
right.
We're in the middle of
No
laughing.
better way to run this, right?
Today we're going to be talking about physical animations and all the stuff that covers, which is mostly making skeletal meshes do
look
hilarious
really
things
funny
and,
things. Yes.
You know, do a kind of organic looking movement, which is always very funny to watch.
Organic?
It's
Is that what we're gonna call this?
It's the only I don't know.
I don't think it's organic.
Floppity,
Floppity. People be drunk.
Yeah, like drunk. We're gonna show you how to make your characters look a little bit more blended in their animations.
That's
How about
right.
that?
So actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start in the FAT, the physical animation, or pardon, the physics asset tool. Ooh.
Yep, the FAT
And
editor.
we're going to show you guys how to test stuff, and then we're going to apply it to a mesh, well, actually a character in the world, and show you how we can run around and interact with stuff. So here I am in the FAT, and we have our mannequin dude. We're using the third-person example template, so nothing fancy here. Comes with this all pre-set up, and if we select all of our physics bodies, we'll see in 4.13, I guess I should say that this feature is for 4.13.
Yeah, this is
if
a
you can
4.13 one, and we're running in Preview 3.
We're running in Preview 3, so this is available right now in the launcher for you guys.
4.13 coming soon.
Yep. Is it?
Yep.
Okay, fine. Yeah, for yeah, whatever. So whatever. You'll see that we have a new thing down here called physical animation, and it says add profile, and you're like, wait a minute, what profile? And you'll go to profiles up here because, hey, profiles, but, well, okay, none, I can add none. Turns out there's a whole new window for us called physics asset.
Yep.
And this is for storing our physical animation data and our constraint profile data. So we'll just go ahead and create a physical animation profile, and then we'll call this stream profile. Really, really creative here.
It's a great one for when you're making a game, and it's called Stream Profile.
That's right, stream profile.
Yeah, that won't confuse anyone else that looks through your assets.
No, absolutely not. And from here, we can now add things to it. So we'll close this out, go to Profile, we'll see Stream Profile, click it, and suddenly we have our profile lit up. Now, if we were to add everything, yeah, you know what, we'll just add everything, because it's okay. You'll see now that we have a bunch of values here. There are no real hints here on what really these do, but we have some really solid magical numbers here. 1,000, 100, move the mouse out of the way, tab 1,000, tab 100. And local simulation we'll get to here in a second. And what should happen, if I remember correctly, is you should kind of fall down kind of stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to maintain T-pose, but he can't quite do it because of the joys of gravity. And you'll see the twist there. More than likely is caused by the fact that we have a local simulation. If we go to a world simulation, he has a completely different effect as he's trying to fight with himself on the floor.
And gravity itself seems to have some difficulty there.
Itself has defeated our dude. To make sure that things are interacting in a little bit better way, what we normally do is we turn off something like pelvis, turn on simulate selected, and simulate. So now you can see that he's attempting to maintain T-pose.
And so the reason he didn't fall down this time is because since the pelvis isn't being affected by gravity, it just kind of maintains in space. So that's why not everything's going all over the place.
Yep.
And those quote-unquote magic numbers, those were, again, just to kind of set basic stiffnesses. We call them magic numbers because any numbers are technically correct. Those were just the ones we put in.
Well, they may not have enough force.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is we're running physics under the hood here. So some of these numbers are going to look larger than what they might appear to be.
My point being that you don't have to keep them at these exact specific numbers.
No. These are starting numbers.
Yeah, like if you don't want him to ever be able to dig his head into his chest like he did there for a second, you're gonna have to make some adjustments.
All right. Sorry, I'm having too much fun here.
Another thing to point out here is
I'm control right clicking.
Oh yeah, control and right click is how you just grab pieces and move them around. If you haven't ever used the FAT editor before, we do have quite a lot of docs on it.
And actually, yeah, I guess that's actually a really good point. To get to the FAT, You just open a physics asset. So
And if you don't have a physics asset, you can
right-click
right-click on a skeletal mesh
and create one.
and create one.
But we already have one.
Yeah, and it's actually been kind of pre-built to be optimized and nice. So
Yeah,
we're just going to use the default third-person one for
Yeah,
this.
So, okay, we're still in simulate. So I'm going to turn off simulate.
Oh, another thing, this physical animation settings that we've made here on the right, you'll see in a little bit, you didn't actually have to set them here and make the profile like we did.
Exactly. You don't have to.
You don't have to, but this is just a good way to have it pre-made.
This is for testing.
Yeah,
So,
this is just a good way to have it pre-made.
but also we can use these. So let's say, for example, for whatever reason, now you'll notice that I selected all the bodies.
We got
and did
corrected,
this?
it's an A pose, not a T pose. Yes, you guys are right, it's an A pose, because technically, yes.
Oh, man. It's going to be one of those streams.
It is.
All right, so we can come into each individual body and we can make adjustments. So I can lower this by a factor of 10, let's say. And there we go. And if we simulate at that point, not much changes because he's still being supported by everything else, but his chest, when applied for an animation, should be a lot floppier. So let's go ahead and turn on a third-person walk. You'll see he enters the pose, and we'll let him go. He is not floppy enough for my tastes. But then again,
So very, I guess, let's make him very...
and this is how it ends.
All right, well that's, oh goodness.
And that's why we simulate.
Well, at least we technically we set him up to do that, but
Right. So without the power thing in here, that's actually going to be a real pain. So just let it be known that you can set up specific values for specific, like if we had a ponytail,
yeah,
right? This is like the quintessential example of this. If we had a ponytail, we'd be able to apply it here and make it work. And in a bit, what we'll do is we'll actually open up the content examples, and we'll show the difference between using physical animation and then just having simulated bones. Because there is an actual difference between the two, and it will depend on what you are trying to do in your game.
And
So-
it really changes the way that you're going to actually interact with
Exactly.
things.
So we'll go ahead and just leave this as it is, and just let you know, it's here. This is a great place to test. If you see any really bad behavior, like things flying off to the moon or clipping across each other, fix it here first, or it's not going to work in your game. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and save this. We have a profile to use if we want it. And then we're going to go into our third-person blueprint here. Third-person character. Oh, he's already open here on the other side. Now, as those in chat might know, we were having a little bit of technical difficulty here. So we have already actually set up our chain of how this is supposed to work.
Yes, which
Now-
is only a handful of nodes to get you going. So.
That's right. The big thing is we need our skeletal mesh not to interact with our capsule.
Yes.
And really, we need our capsule to be thinner. Let's go
And we
to-
have to add in the component itself, of course.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, really
yeah.
what we should do. Let's just start over.
Yeah,
You know what? We're going to do this.
because it's actually really quick for us to set up on stream.
Yep.
So
And mesh.
first things first, go on ahead into your mesh, go into your collision, switch it over to custom.
Yeah, it's going to be some. I believe
It'll be under
is-
pawn.
I believe it says overlap all or something
it?
like that.
No, I think it's under pawn when it starts.
Is it pawn? I don't think it's pawn because pawn interacts with way too much.
Oh, okay.
It may be. Whatever it is, we're changing it to custom.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it can't be pawn because collision enabled here. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's something like
It's overlap pawn.
like overlap all or something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because the big thing we need to do is change it to custom. Collision enabled. This needs to be absolutely yes. We need physics only or physics inquiry. If you want physics inquiry, that's for like if you're tracing against the mesh and you want to do, I don't know, do raycast guns or something, and you want to be able to hit it. For us, we just need physics only.
Yep. This
And
is
then-
this is an incredibly important step, by the way.
Yes, if you don't do this, there are some really freaky things that happen.
Yeah, it will start interpreting how it should collide in very odd ways and give
In fact,
you.
we'll actually, you know what?
we can show them what will. So
We'll show you how it's supposed to work, then we'll show you.
yeah,
the,
we'll actually intentionally break it so
Yes.
you guys can see what.
like if you run into these problems.
yeah,
here's
if
what's
you
going
if you
on.
run into it, how to troubleshoot your way back to sanity.
And so I've turned on world static and world dynamic
Mhm.
for block. And then going back to our viewport here, our capsule component should start out around 44. For us to show like him doing stuff, I've lowered it to 11, but normally it'll look like so.
Yeah, but
I'm lowering it
you
to
need
11.
those limbs to slide like slam
Yeah,
into
we
walls.
want to be able to kick walls and things, right? So we'll push that out.
And we didn't have to change any collision on that.
Nope. And then we need our physical animation component.
So the physical animation.
Yeah, so just right quick, I just typed in PHY, physical animation. There it is. And it has one real setting on it. I mean, all the other stuff is kind of inherited.
It's just generic component
Yeah,
settings.
generic is strength multiplier.
Yep.
And we'll compile that, go to our event graph. Now we've deleted everything. We're going to do begin play. Get our event begin play. We're going to need our physical animation component.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to need our mesh component, I think.
Yes.
I mean, it was never really, I think this worked without it, but it's, just to make sure if you have multiple skeletal meshes, make sure it's targeting the right one.
Yeah. So that's another thing too, is if you have one blueprint character, quote unquote, that's actually a series of meshes, you can make certain parts of it have this physical animation stuff, and the other parts be purely driven by your own normal animations.
Or if, like, he was holding a gun, like
Yeah.
it was an actual component of him, but it was also a skeletal mesh, we could target that rather than, because it may not be all of him.
Yeah.
So
That'd be
anyway.
kind of a cartoony gun that kind of like,
Yeah, flops around and
yeah,
whatever.
that'd be kind of funny.
Alrighty, so we need to set skeletal mesh component. It's under the physical animation category. A lot of the stuff we're going to be messing with is under there. And we'll just hook up our mesh. And we'll hook up event begin play. And then we need a, I believe it's
Set.
not set.
No, it's.
This will apply.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the. Oh, that's right, because we made the profile, so we don't need
Yeah.
to do the settings.
Well, we can do either, right?
Yep.
We can set profile below and set settings below. I'm just going to quickly show you settings, and then I'll bring up the profile one. Apply profile. Same basic deal, except for we need our profile name, which was what, stream profile.
Yeah, I think so.
So we would just push that in. We put that in here. Stream profile, and there you go. Right.
Yeah.
At this point, they're basically the same.
Well, you
if
have
we
to
do a
put in-
make,
Yeah.
and it's just a struct.
Yep.
Same settings that we saw before. So we would just do 1,000,
Yep.
100, 1,000, 100, and then 0, 0.
Yeah. So those are those magic numbers we put off somewhere else.
Yep.
Just like I was saying, you like if you don't feel like setting up a profile, and
You just
you're-
want to get into the fun.
like if like there's one thing that you're ever going to have as the setting, you can do this instead. But if you do want to have it swap back and forth between, oh, he's sober, oh, he's drunk, so now we swap back and forth, set up profiles. It's
Yeah.
just easier.
You could do like hit stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah,
I got
it's
hit in the arm, so suddenly my arm is
Yeah, like
really
goes like semi-conscious, or
Yeah.
like hit in the head. So like now you're like wavering a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's when you want to set up profiles with various degrees of these kind of strengths.
I'm going to type in pelvis here. That is our kind of our root bone.
Yeah.
Turn off include self, and then I'm just going to promote this and call it bone name. Apparently, I already have a bone name in there, so we'll actually go ahead and delete our new var. We don't need it. And it's already set to pelvis. Even better. Get pelvis, drop in pelvis, and then that's cool. So we've applied a physical animation settings, but now we need to simulate stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll go back and we'll grab our skeletal mesh, and we will do
Simulate below.
simulate all bodies below.
Yeah.
So set all bodies below, simulate physics. This one doesn't have a field to put in, so you need this name variable.
Mm-hmm. And what's
And-
really useful is if you typed into that body field pelvis when you did the promotion, it auto
fills it
yeah,
out
it already
for you.
fills out the information with pelvis, so
Yep.
it just easily snaps right over.
Don't want to include self, and we want to turn on new simulate.
Yep.
Now, if we've done everything correctly, which I think we have,
Yep.
this should magically work.
No, I mean, we put a lot of effort into it magically working. Yeah, there we go.
So
He's having a
he's-
good time.
he's like, God, guys, like, I love this brick. It is the best brick
This is his buddy
ever.
Brixie. He's just gonna lean on it for a minute. No,
Guys,
he's fine. He's just gotta lean for a second. Just gotta
I'm
lean. I think
I'm
we've all
okay.
been there. It's like I'm okay. I just gotta lean for a
Yeah,
second.
hold on. Let's go over here. And the walls, stairs are my enemy.
The
Okay.
jump is great when the arms just.
Yeah, he just
Cause he just
flails.
kind of goes with it. Like,
Oh jeez.
we abuse the mannequin so much.
Right.
and-
So you can see that there's some really weird effects
Yeah.
that we can get here.
But you see how if you spin too quickly now, it's doing something we don't want, which is he just can fly basically, which looks very odd even when you're flopping around. So we can tighten up the strength
Yeah, we could.
of everything and.
Or we can actually. I find it very interesting that he is so floppy.
Yeah.
Should he?
Well, check out your component, the actual physical animation.
Yeah, but it should be at 1,
Yeah.
right? So he should. This should be a little bit more firm than what we're seeing. There we go. It's because he was in. He was in local.
Oh,
So now
you
that he's in world, it's much. The values end up being a little bit different.
yeah. So
so
we
you can
uncheck that
see-
checkbox for local versus world.
Yeah, so you can see like my arm is now interacting with the world, but I'm not as ridiculous. However, my feet are going to remain ridiculous, mainly
Yeah,
because
You're a little bit too short now at this
Uh,
point because your feet are sort of hanging.
yeah.
So it's like the
f-
capsule needs to be slightly taller.
It's not that it needs to be taller. It's
you
that
need to
we
be higher up.
we clip. By default, our guy is actually a little too low.
Oh yeah, because you'd rather have the animation where the feet slightly go into the ground versus
Right.
slightly skim.
Like this does not look as good, right?
Yeah.
So he gets a little bit of floppy toe here, like he's kind of.
Well, I mean, you could take off the
We should
grid
really-
snapping and then kind of make
Let's
a
turn
little.
off motion blur. Actually, that's actually getting really, really bad.
Yeah, we don't need that. It's a fake anyway.
Amount 0, please. Because
There we go.
that's a little bit better. At least you can start to see
Yeah.
that he's got a more of a prance now.
Yeah. Oh,
because
he's
his-
doing like the toe to heel
Yeah.
walk. Yeah.
So
Yeah. But let's go through like strength changes and then we'll
Okay.
break him and show him.
oh yeah, we're gonna sorry dude, we're gonna break the
We are
crap out
going
of
to
you.
hurt him. We're going to do things.
We're going to hurt you.
We're going to intentionally bug him out, which is sometimes we just kind of unintentionally bug something out and then teach how to debug. This
So we'll-
time we actually have a plan to bug him out.
We'll take our strength modifier way down so you can see this about 0.1 when he's not simulating in
Yeah.
local should give us the same basic effect.
Yeah, so that's where we get into the point where he's just totally all over the place.
It looks like he's kind of jamming out, like
Yeah.
na, 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 na. Nobody can see us on camera.
Yeah,
Oh no, they can.
really
We're in
tiny.
the corner.
We're
Sweet.
really tiny. See, they can see.
Yeah. Hey, get off my head. All right. All right. So let's
We should change the title of this stream to Derping with Physics.
derping with physics.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. But
Well,
uh,
it is. I mean, come on.
So that's the difference, and also we have a set strength node. So when you're
yeah.
when
Yeah,
you're actually in at runtime, you can say, okay, well let's just adjust the strength entirely. So you can control it with that one float value versus having to go through and do a bunch of.
yeah. What would be an easy
Yeah,
timeline?
Oh, I was gonna say on E, like press E and then do like a flip flop.
No. Let's.
But yeah, you could do a timeline even to show him changing his. Oh yeah, there you go. If you drive your float in some way,
Yeah.
he can actually become more floppy over the driving of this timeline.
see what we'll do is we'll do a play, and we'll set up our timeline. It'll loop, and then all we need is a float track and length of, let's just say, a second. We don't really need it to be long. What's the, there we go. Shift click.
Hmm?
Really don't care about it being too perfect.
No.
Actually, I do.
That one could
Because
be.
that's how I'm rolling. And this one is time 1. This one is time 0. And then select all of them. And we'll do.
You want to just put it on repeat?
Where's the curve? Do we not? We do have curve. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there it is.
We'll do auto. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, it's looping. It plays.
So this is gonna constantly drive
Yep.
from
And then
stronger to weaker.
update, we're going to need our physical animation component,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're going to do set strength multiplier. There it is. And
You should really try adding the physics handle component. It adds a whole new dimension. Interesting you suggest that. It was actually one of the first things I thought of. Is it'd be cool to do a marionette game or a puppet game.
oh yeah, so you
where
grab the
have-
dude.
Yeah, like you're controlling the little handles, and then it's all done with physics handle component and letting him have, letting your little character have physics animations. Yeah. So
Now
yeah,
it
you
looks
can
like
see,
he's kind of breathing.
He's determining like he's constantly looping back and forth between regular run and this physics-based run.
Yeah, but you can see, look at his legs, right?
Yeah, like
the
the-
legs really show what's going on.
Yeah, like you can see exactly that point where they've gone so far that they just like go all
All
the
right.
way out.
Well, then you know what we have to do at this point.
Oh,
Include
goodness.
self. Include self. So the pelvis is the root physical body.
Yes, which is going to cause issues if we're
Well, it's
simulating.
it should be hilarious.
So this is one error you may encounter: is your character is just grinding on the ground, rolling around like a toddler having a tantrum.
Help!
And that is because you took your root bone that everything is based off of, and you simulated it.
But you don't have enough strength to keep up.
Yeah, so physically he's not capable of standing himself
Right.
up.
So let's turn off our timeline real
So
quick.
we just disabled the timeline on the off screen.
Yeah. So even at 1 strength, he doesn't have enough strength to keep up with us. So we'll do.
So
Actually, pardon. That's at 0.1. Let's
Yeah, that's
let's
at
check him
0.1.
out. Let's check him out at 1. I believe he should have enough to keep up with us. No, he's having a real hard time even now, and is being absolutely hilarious.
yeah, so this is
Actually, at this point, we can, since he's separated so badly, there's a nice little debug feature.
mm-hmm.
So I've ejected, and oh man, it actually used to show in the actual world, but you can see down here in our corner, you can see these little red dots.
Yeah.
It's actually representative of where he's trying to get. I'm not sure why they're not showing in the actual editor. So they were showing as of yesterday.
You did a thing.
I did a thing. Apparently, I broke all the things again. Actually, does this require a pxviz thing or something to be enabled? We can try that. pxviz collision.
Oh, there we go. Well, at least we can see that going. And we're
Yeah,
going to
no,
use this
actually
later to show you guys the difference between, the animation blending stuff as well.
Yeah.
So
'Cause as you can see, yeah.
one more time,
he's-
what was that command?
pxviz collision. I'm
Yeah,
gonna just
pxviz.
pxviz collision.
That's 2 words. pxviz is 1 word, collision's the other, and that's going to let you just see.
Zoom in, man.
Oh wait,
Zoom in. At the bottom
Clint
of the
is reading a
screen.
book. Clint has a
Clint,
book open over here. And he's
Bro,
reading a
keep
book.
up with us, man.
I'm gonna take off my shoe and throw it at you next. All right. So next up on here. Oh yeah, let's fix him back up really quick.
Yep,
Oh, wait.
no, we're zooming.
At the
We're
bottom.
zooming. At the very bottom.
Oh yeah.
There it is. pxviz collision.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Cool.
Thank you, Clint. So, yeah, pelvis, if we had more strength here, probably can keep up. Or if we modified the pelvis alone to be...
You need to bring that back over. They can't see what
sorry,
you're.
I keep
so
doing
far.
that. If we were to make the general strength of the pelvis better than the rest of everything that we're doing, we could probably keep them up there. Let's just go ahead and do a... let's just do a 10x. And well, let's hit play. No, he really doesn't like doing this.
No.
He's really fighting.
No, we would
against
have
us.
to really. We'd have to really make his.
And
his
everything
whole
else is
body
going to
very
get everything else
different.
is going to get completely ridiculous.
So yeah, if your guy is like weirdly gliding around like that, consider that you've
Just
accidentally
yeah.
included self on those checkboxes.
well, included self specifically on your
On
root
bone.
on your root bone.
Yes.
Because if we were to change this to, let's change it to upper arm L, right? So we do upper arm underscore L. By the way, I just know these bone names. If you ever need to know a bone name, head to your mesh, your skeletal mesh.
You can just double click the pink icon also.
Oh, can I do that now?
Yeah, you can just.
I learned something new
Yeah, I was
today.
wondering why you kept going to the content browser. to
Because
look
that's
at
how
that.
I roll. And you can get any of your bone names in here, and it's really easy. You can actually just right-click, and there's a copy selected bone names.
Yep.
So you can be like, oh, I don't want to remember how to spell it or whatever if you've named them real weird, and then just drop it in. So now that we've done his arm, go back to physical animation, change it back to, actually I'm going to change it back to way less. And then you can see just his arm is floppy, but you wanted his upper arm to simulate.
Yeah.
'Cause
So now you have like a broken arm,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Hi everyone.
Hey guys.
Yeah, and
He's
this will-
trying to, this would be a really great, immediately I think, high-fiving game where you just have two dudes and they can't control their arm proper, and all you have to do is high-five.
That's
And it's-
all you have to do.
That's the whole game, is
That's-
trying
it's
to get them to high-five with these
Somebody make
arms.
this. Make a multiplayer. Let's do this.
Yeah, it's an MMO.
So, it's an MMO with quests. Of course, the only quest is high five somebody. So, ow, this really hurts.
Yeah, so you got
Okay.
the arm bent around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just from any position, any bone, you can go down from there.
Let's see.
We were asked if we can take a bone, take like bones, like if I have a chain of bones and apply it to some bones in that chain, but not the ones in between other bones. I think it's all down, so it has to be.
No.
Oh no, there's a set between, or
Yeah, well, they're set on bone.
set specific bone.
Right.
Oh, okay, so yeah, okay, you're right.
You
yeah,
want to do that? We can do that.
I mean, well, you bring it over here, but theoretically, yeah, you could just make an individual applying.
let's
like
see.
per bone.
We'll just make this a loop. All right. I mean, in theory, this should work. The problem is, well, no, it's set all bodies below simulate. So if you didn't set a, I don't think there's a set body simulate. Now, see, unfortunately, there's not an individual simulate.
Oh, okay.
The profile okay. All right. No, hold on. You could do like here. Let's experiment.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're setting everything below, and we're going to set our arm to completely simulate, okay? So what should happen is we'll have our upper arm and our hand be really floppy, but we'll get our lower arm to be really, really, really stiff.
So it's trying to follow where the animation is.
Right. So, and we'll see where that takes us. I think we're going to get some really bad behavior. But, I mean, that's part of the learning process, right? We learn what does not work well. So we need to apply animation settings, and we'll hook that up. And skeleton, we're going to take his lower arm and
To the top.
copy,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm just going to paste this one in there. Actually, we'll need to rearrange this a little bit. We'll put this one over here. Really, really sensitive here. And we'll make our physical animation data here kind of ridiculous. In fact, we'll give it a factor of 100 more. So instead of 1,000, we'll go 100,000. Instead of 100, 10,000. And then 100,000, that looks right. And 10,000, that looks right. All right. And then we'll animate. So this arm, his lower arm, should attempt to get to where it wants to be. It might have minimal effect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe what will happen is like the upper arm will no longer appear floppy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Well, no. No, it holds its pose. Like you can see that
It's like attempting to stay in the running pose.
yeah. So
But the rest of the arm is floppy, so it's going
Right,
crazy. And then the
so-
hand, of course, is just sort of jiggling.
yeah,
there.
the hand is just jiggling, but it is attempting to maintain.
Yeah,
I
look
wish-
at that.
Oh wait. Okay, I can run backwards. I can run towards the camera.
It's interesting. It has created kind of a strange-looking animation where
Right, because its mass is throwing the arm up as he's trying to move it that way.
yeah,
and it's not allowing it to.
So I guess the answer is yes.
Yeah, you could totally do
Yeah,
this.
well,
I
we'll check
mean,
that out.
it's just you're driving a lot of force to keep that arm into position. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so yeah, as long as you do setting the individual bones around the one that you want to
Yeah.
maintain strong, yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally feasible.
now it's not technically locked.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not gonna, yeah,
Like we could probably still drag it across this thing regardless, and
Mhm.
I mean, it's trying,
yeah,
but it's not the same as not simulating. You cannot have just a midpoint joint that is not simulating.
yeah, it couldn't be that, yeah, you have like an arm and like this part of your arm and the hand floating in space having their
Mhm.
simulation while the forearm is sticking rigidly to the animation. No,
Right.
but it is attempting to stay the animation stronger on that bone.
Yep.
Because of it. Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go.
Alrighty, and so let's show you what happens if you start from default on your mesh,
Uh-huh.
and you come down to your collision
Oh, yes.
profile, and
So-
and this one is set to query only.
Yes. So if you didn't change your collision enable, this is where we're talking about debugging things. This is one that had us tripped up for a little bit. So we think it's
Yup.
kind of important for everybody to know that, you know, if you ever see your physics are going crazy, check all the collision settings in here because you might
Yep.
have it set to no collision or the wrong one. So
So what I've just done is I've changed everything back to pelvis.
mhm.
I'm no longer including the pelvis in the simulation. I'm going to get rid of the lower arm in between here. Okay. And let's do our physical animation. Make sure that we're at a 1.0. Compile. And we've changed our collision to query only. Now, you might have seen it right there as it started. His leg kind of jiggled. But it gets kind of worse. You can see now that his leg is absolutely freaking out. This is basically because we've actually not provided any collision data to anything, and you also notice that he sticks very, very well to his animation, and he
Mhm.
doesn't collide with anything.
Yep.
So if he's not colliding with anything and things are freaking out, you've failed to turn on
Yep.
the physics collision. And you might think, well, maybe my physics asset's messed up and things along those lines. We can show you what happens if you just go up a tick, so spine
Yeah.
0, 1.
Yeah, it
This effect propagates basically to the first chain it gets to.
uh-huh. So the leg was the first one it got onto there.
Yeah, hold on, why is this?
Oh, do you have
Did I
the,
misspelled spine?
You might have it's spine 01.
I think it's spine. Here, we'll just come here. No, it should be spine 01.
Do you have physics simulating and
Ah,
including self?
Include self.
Ah,
I
yeah,
think
include
include
self.
self for this one works.
Yep.
Because it's
Otherwise, it
usually-
won't do anything for it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, actually, you can see that it's off a little bit, but he's really not doing what he was
funny.
doing before.
We have simulate, include self.
Yeah, because
Huh.
he was freaking out really
Oh,
hard.
wait, we had it on the other setting because there's 3 in the drop down. And it was on the wrong.
Does this one require a local?
I don't know, maybe. But there's also a third setting we were using. There we go. So, yeah, if anything just is going completely nuts like this,
Yeah.
first check all of your collision settings because those are going to be easier to check than trying to go down your entire chain of physics.
And by the way, you should have already
objects.
checked your physics.
Your physics
stuff and
assets.
fat, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you should already know that it's good to go.
Will some samples be available for download from the stream, for example? Actually, better examples will be available for download.
Yup. And in fact, shortly we're gonna load those up.
Yes. So go ahead and answer
so
that question.
I turned back on collision on our mesh, so collision enabled physics only in this case,
Yep, physics only, no query collision.
and we should get far better behavior.
Now he
Aw,
just like,
I'm
I
so sad.
I give up.
Life isn't worth it.
And then if you move fast, he's like,
Yeah, I'm so happy. Gotta dance. Gotta dance there. Okay, sorry. Okay. So that is one of the big things that we added for physical animation. The other thing that we can do, actually, I don't know. I mean, we can jump into. I got 2 things. We can jump into content examples, and we can show the difference between simulating with physical animation, simulating without physical animation, or we can talk about constraint profiles. which could be hilarious.
Well, right now we're getting asked about the profiles, about can you activate multiple physics profiles as long as they don't affect the same bones, ones for each arm, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go make your profiles, set them up for however you want them to interact, and then you can apply the profile to specific bones or to bones below. I think you can do profile to bones.
You keep saying bones.
Blones.
It's
I don't know why.
it's because it's bones below is
Bones below.
well, because that's the node. You're so used to saying the node name.
Yes.
It's getting on you.
Okay, let's do physical animation here. Yeah. Apply physical animation profile below and apply physical animation settings below. Looks like, so if you wanted to do one of the in-between ones, you would still have to do a raw settings change. However, if you had left arm, right arm profiles, you would just do upper arm L, upper arm R, and then, I mean, you could do it in a chain where you're like, okay, full body, you're going to be this profile. Okay, now left arm, you're now this profile. Right arm, you're now this profile because they're up the chain or down the chain, however you want to look at it, right? And then it's just a matter of applying them in the correct order, and you'll be fine. So, what other questions you got?
Can physical animation suffer from gimbal lock? We have quite a lot of questions.
No,
we'll probably have to get to them all at once.
So gimbal lock isn't actually a problem in this case because it's using the constraints. So constraints really can't suffer from gimbal. I mean, I guess arguably, well, they're quaternions. They really can't. I mean, yeah, they use nice, fun, things like twist and for their identifiers, but at the end of the day, they're quaternions and don't really gimbal. So,
all right. We have a ton of questions. Actually, we'll probably have to get to them at the end.
All right, well, that's fine. I was just, if there's anything local, right quick.
Yeah, that's what the one was the only thing I think of. But I think we should probably open up the content examples.
Okay,
and
we'll do the content
crack
example.
into that one.
So I'm going to open this up, and there's content examples 1-3.
Alrighty.
I'll just load it up here. Yes. It's just loading on the other screen. And let's see, skeleton. Actually, let's close out that real quick. Give me this for when we come back.
Yep.
Because we're gonna add some motors.
Motors. Oh boy.
We're gonna motor.
Yeah, we're gonna start getting into more complex things. But what makes me really happy about this one is that it's only a couple of nodes and a couple of settings changes, and you go from standard guy to totally interactive, wacky, floppy character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're doing a bunch of stuff where we're animating across his entire body, we could do things where he's only kicking his legs, and then we just ragdoll the rest of him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that creates an interesting effect, depending on what you want to go for. Oh man, content examples are taking a while to open over here. All right, well, while it's opening, let's talk about physics constraint profiles.
All right. Sounds like a good idea.
So same basic stuff you saw under profiles. We have a constraint profile with none, so we need to create a new one.
It's under
We're going to go window, physics assets. We're going to create a new constraint profile. What's another really, really elegant name here? Stream constraint profile. That's amazing. I love it. I love it. It's long, it's descriptive, and you have to copy and paste it, and I probably spelled it wrong. So anyway.
It's probably got typos in
It's probably got typos. So we're going to select that, and we're in constraint mode. So body mode looks like this, constraint mode looks like this. Now we need to select some constraints. I'm going to select a single constraint. Now this one's a little bit different. I think I need to expand this out a little bit. Whereas before we had a whole nother details panel category down here for adding, we don't have that for the constraints. It's actually up at the top here on the details. It says add to current profile, and just like you saw, it can be super hidey. So you need to kind of pull it out so you can see it.
Yeah.
In this case, I only need the one added in here. And what we can do now is we can have a lot of fun by, I don't know, adding a motor. So I'm going to go ahead and add a velocity drive to his arm here. And let's look at, I don't know, what direction? It looks like Y? Is that what we want? It looks like Y. Let's do a 900 velocity on Y. And if we simulate selected, oh, it's trying to do something. Let's do Control A, control off the pelvis, simulate. It's really fighting against it. Let's turn off our profile then for physical animation. There we go.
Oh.
So we've turned on the motor on the arm. So we can see that it is trying very, very much to flail around.
Yeah. Goodness.
And it's getting jammed. We don't really have enough strength in there.
Do the control right click, see if you can grab the arm and
Yeah,
get it out of that.
Hey, buddy, why don't you come over here? And he's like, no, no,
It's,
no,
don't wanna.
I won't go over here.
We've basically created a tantrum throwing bot
Basically,
today.
right? Like, he's just flailing around.
I just love it. Just like,
Now, to use this, it's a little bit different. So that's the motor we want. That's great. It's going to be fighting really, really hard against the animation profile. Pardon, not against the animation, the physical animation profile. So we can do one of two things. We can really amp up the force, which I don't think is going to really work out too well.
Mhm.
Or we can make the profile for his arm really weak. We'll probably end up just making the profile for his arm really weak, so it ignores animation. So we'll go ahead and reopen up our dude. I'm not entirely sure. Does this actually have anything to do with the physical animation component? I don't think this does. I think it's just a profile thing that's been in there for a bit. We'd have to actually talk to.
I mean,
Ori. Is
it'll
Ori in
affect-
chat? Ori.
No, he's not. in chat. It will affect your what is it? It will affect your animation though.
Yes.
Once you kick on some constraints.
Yep.
So this is just about
Yes.
making your thing do things that its animation doesn't intend it to do.
Yep. This is going to be kind of hilarious. So what we're going to do, we need our mesh. This is where the constraint profile is applied. It's not applied in the, whatchamacallit, in the physical animation component. So we're going to want to set settings below his arm. And that was his left arm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was his left?
Yeah,
Can
it
I
was his
close
left arm.
Good job, Ian. So upper arm L. Pardon, we're not going to promote that. We just go in here. Upper arm underscore L. Include self, physical animation data.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a make, and it's going to be zeros. We really don't care about anything else.
Because it's going to be driven entirely by that profile.
Ooh.
It still needs a target,
Needs a target. Yeah, that's right.
which is the profile
Give
or
me, no, the physical animation component.
the animation component.
Yeah. You know what you wanted.
Yeah, whatever.
Your brain just didn't say it. And, oh, okay, well, we're just going to dock that over there real quick. Hit play. And his left arm, as you can see, is completely just like, nope. His right arm is holding pretty strong, but his left arm is like, nope.
Yep.
So we'll come back over. And on our mesh, we look up constraint profile for all, I guess. And since we only have the one,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I copied that out. Nope.
You copied something else.
I copied something else.
This is what we get for having really long names on stuff.
That's right. I should have called it, one.
Oh, by the way, the project did load. We're just going to finish up this thought, and then we'll
Yep.
hop over there.
And default if not found.
That way it won't wig out on us.
Compile, save. Now this should create some rather interesting.
Yep.
No. My arm's jammed. No.
So yeah, so
No.
this set constraints that we've done here, I mean, you can see the application. You throw this thing into your logic somewhere, and suddenly you've got a character who's
I should have done it to his head.
losing his mind.
I should have just
No.
spit his head. Just
No.
That probably would have worked way better because the arms are set up in a weird way where it's like their
Well,
axis isn't like
yeah, because
it's not
they're built to
this,
be socketed.
right.
Yeah.
There's more motion over there.
Yeah. So
So
that's it right there. This has a
And
lot of
actually-
applications if you're working with characters that you want to have like actual
PX
physical movement
Viz
with.
collision.
Oh, well, there you
Did I just
go. You
spell that wrong?
misspelled collision.
You know what, man? Whatever.
There you go.
Okay, so that's sticking with it. So it looks like this is still part of the animation, physics animation component, because all of his collision is sticking with him. So that's great. It's actually really, really cool. So okay, let's get away from our tantrum throwing dude here. We'll minimize this, minimize this.
Yeah, we're tired of his attitude. It's a
That's
terrible
right.
attitude.
His terrible. His attitude is atrocious, guys.
Yeah, he's not getting dessert tonight.
That's right. So, content examples are being updated with a new map for 4.13. Actually, probably a couple new maps, all things considered.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. I mean, 4.13's got that VR stuff going into it too. So
Mhm.
there's a lot.
Yep. So, actually, here we have a complete physical animation map. We'll just load that up. And don't do like me, where I was like, wow, this is a really small map. What's over? Oh yeah, there's a whole backside here.
Yeah.
So if we play, and I'm gonna hit, what is it, F11? Is it F11? Which one maximizes? There we go. Whoa. Whoa, what have I done?
Or you're not playing anymore, so it's just waiting on you.
How did I stop playing?
You hit the button.
Oh, did I?
Play. Yeah. You hit
Alright.
F11. There you go.
All right, there we go. So, this is physics animation, okay?
Yeah.
This is different. You get the same basic kind of effect. So I'm just left clicking on this thing and driving back and forth. But this is like kind of how we used to do things. But the problem is if we bring up PX Viz COLLI collision, and we realize that we need to go adjust our post-processing volume.
It's the post-process got us again.
Yeah, the
Is that
Well,
motion blur?
no, it's actually not motion blur. It's AA, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's right.
It's the temporal stuff really doesn't work well with debug lines. So I'll turn off motion blur just to turn it off, and then under MISC, A method, turn it to FXAA or none, and then we should be able to play. Click F11. Come over here, tilde, PX Viz collision. There we go.
So.
All right,
yeah.
so you can see here that like if we wanted to like shoot this guy in the head, like we can't
Yeah, it actually
unless you
doesn't
know
have
that his
collision
head is
there.
actually like dangling down there.
Yeah.
So it matches when he's actually simulating, but not when it's, not when it's not matched, which is very different from when we use physics animation component, where everything matches.
Mm-hmm.
So his legs match, his head and his arms match. Everything's good to go here in comparison to over here where everything under the hood for physics is still being driven
Mm-hmm.
and is being calculated. And if you needed to specifically hit that component, that physics body, well, good luck. You're probably not going to be able to do it.
And the reason that there's two of these is basically based on how you want your game to run and how much you want to spend on your physics. Basically, that's pretty good. So yeah, like you have one that's the animation blending one on the other wall.
If you had something that wasn't necessary for gameplay.
Yeah, like if you have characters that you want to have them do something animation-wise, this is more cinematic than it is for actual gameplay elements. Because, like Ian was saying, if you shoot this guy in the head, it won't even register because his head is nowhere near where his head is.
No, you can't tell, and
No.
you're not going to know that you hit that specific physics body.
Yep. But if
You might
just
get
need-
actually, or you would probably correct me. Something about complex collision. I think even if you were to trace onto him, it's still. I don't think you return anything. I think the trace goes right through his head right now. regardless of
there's
what we
no
do.
bone for it to hit right there.
Yeah, it
is the
ends up being really weird.
And so that's why it's like, okay, well, that's maybe better for cinematic or something where the character's position doesn't or physical bone position doesn't matter as much as everything else.
Right, and right here the cursor is actually a gun, So you can like left click, and you can see that he has. It's the same thing where physics blending in between things, but you can see if you were like on rapid fire mode and you were hitting this guy, like there's a number of cases where I would have gotten a headshot in a first-person shooter on my second bullet, even though I'm hitting him in the chest, right? Because his head collision would have clipped down through.
Yeah, and someone points out, but couldn't you bake these as anims using sequencer?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Totally.
You could totally do that.
Yeah, you could run through with these guys over here for like a cheap cinematic, and then bake it out, and
Yeah,
then
I think
be like,
actually.
I like the way that his like arms kind of did something or whatever, so I'll just bake that out and make it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could also come in it with stuff baked out of Max or Maya or Blender or whatever you use, where you've already done physical animations in their packages, like using Fibic or something, right? Where you're like, oh, I have much better hit reactions, and you use those. What was this one?
But
constraint profiles.
Yeah, just it activates and deactivates his like standing up.
Oh, right, because
It kind of stiffens his body.
his constraints go
ramp up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically one side of this room will kind of represent the more visual versus the gameplay element side, where.
And I really wish Ori was in the stream right now because I'd ask him which one's more expensive.
Oh yeah.
Is this one more expensive? I would imagine.
I would say that one's got to be more expensive.
I would imagine this is more expensive.
But I couldn't say 100%.
But at the same time,
yeah,
this can be disabled completely. But as you can see,
that one's always
this
running.
is always on. It's just kind of underneath everything.
Yeah,
so
we'd have to clarify that one for that question.
I guess I'll ask Ori that and I'll post that up into the forum post. Be like, if one of these is more expensive than the other. So anyway, yeah, this is the content example, and again, like all of our content examples, you can select all your dudes.
Select whatever you want, see how we did it ourselves, and deconstruct it.
Yep,
take a look,
here's how this guy is set
comments. And then you'll see a lot of similar stuff. There's the set skeletal mesh component that we did. There's the settings with the actual settings struct node. And then over there is the simulating physics and setting all bodies below. So
in comparison to one of these guys. Oop, give me that guy.
Yeah, so comparatively, these guys are using animation blending.
Yep, animation, protect, blend weight, and then set all bodies to simulate physics. The blend comes from the slider.
Yeah, that's coming from the level
just
blueprint.
Literally setting all physics below, probably the mode name of what, spine 1? No, upper arm R.
Yeah, that's the one whose
and then
arm
set all
has one.
below physics blend weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit simpler in node setup over here, but yeah, it's always just going to run the one animation.
Yeah, it's really what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, one would be really good for a ponytail, the other one would be really good for, something that you want to have interact in a gameplay kind of fashion.
Yeah, that's actually a great example. Like at runtime, when would I use the other version? Like, yeah, for a ponytail.
Yeah, something that doesn't matter.
Yeah, something that doesn't matter if it gets hit or not. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's bring up some questions here because you had a long...
Some questions? Okay.
Deep breath, deep breath.
Can physical animations be used to... oh, wait, hang on. So we're going to do the Q&A portion of the show now. So that helps me later when I'm looking through the videos to mark them for time. So Q&A. All right. Can physical animations be used to implement or replace IK bone movement? And the answer is no. I mean, I wouldn't replace it because if you want your feet to land on the ground right,
yeah, you need
because it's going to make
your
your feet are going to end up swinging like you saw our guys with the swinging feet.
Yeah,
that's the difference. There is you're not going to have that solidly planted foot in the But I get what you're seeing is you see him go up a ramp and he kind of like his feet kind of stagger up the ramp and whatnot.
Well, it's because it's not IK. I mean,
yeah.
So this is me. We're not going to test this.
Postulating and theorizing.
This is theorizing. Like, if you had an IK set up for the foot, right? So that's driven by your animation. And then you had reasonably strong physics to drive the rest of your body up the chain, maybe that would give you a little bit of extra, I don't know, oomph for the animation. But really, you're not going to get much out of it, I don't think. Because it's not meant to replace that system. It's not meant to, I don't think, really working with that system.
No, it's
IK is meant to plant something. This physics stuff is meant to give things more life as as its mass is being moved around.
Yeah, it's
in comparison, it doesn't activate like up
Yeah.
the chain.
I can see where the parallels could be drawn though. Like when you see like our example of the IK where we have Owen from the demo and he's doing his punches and he punches a brick wall and or he's punching forward and then there's a brick wall and he slams into the brick wall. Yeah, it would make it so the fist stops there, but then it's just gonna like,
Yeah,
do its weird.
it's still going to
full
try
physics.
to get
So-
there. So what actually might happen is instead of being IK, we stop. It might actually be, depending on the angle that you hit it, it might be physics, we punch and then we continue through and our arm clips like this.
Or like
so
it
we're
collapses
we're
kind of.
we're
kinda
bloodying
crumple.
our entire arm against
Yeah,
the wall
it's going to end up
instead of
with
just
a,
slamming against the wall and
if you're
stopping.
if that's an effect you're going for, then it's perfectly fine, but it is going to create kind of a crumpling effect.
Yeah, because it's going to be like, oh, I can match the upper arm if I just move the lower arm out of the way, kind of deal.
That's going to be the real difference between
mass
IK
and-
and and this is going to always have much more fluid effect. It's not going to
less
create
controlled.
that. Yeah, 'cause
less controlled.
it's going to feel like his muscles are made out of jelly versus actual muscles when he
jelly.
does something.
Or his bones, really.
Yeah, it's
Whatever. What's the next question?
can physical animations prevent sliding feet from characters turning in place? No.
No.
That's IK.
That's okay. You're going to want IK.
So
for
to kind of reiterate on that, IK is going to be your friend in a lot of these cases.
yeah.
But that's just that.
Because, I mean, come on. As you saw, his feet were not going to stay planted at all.
Yeah, they were just going.
Oh, man. And I
everywhere.
could
He started kind of tippy-toeing also, which you see that's what happens when he's ever so slightly up, causes him to do the tippy-toeing, because they just kind of hang slightly. Because, again, it's all gravity and physics driven.
Now, if you want to try an experiment,
Mhm.
you could go into your physics asset and you could give your foot bodies really, really, really strong
I already know where this is going.
friction.
Yeah.
But you would have to make sure that they're placed against the ground
It's
and that they're touching.
It's-
So your friction might potentially stop, but
heavy at that point. I feel like that's like
where this
getting
is totally overkill because there's something already in
that's
place to
super
handle.
overkill. Exactly. It's like at this point we're creating our own idea of what IK is.
Yeah, right,
So
like-
IK in the yeah.
Don't advise it, but if you want to try as an experiment to see if there's an additional effect that you can get,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, this is how you come up with interesting game mechanics. Is you just poke at a
Oh,
thing
man.
until it's.
Wait. What if
fine.
you did that, but instead of like staying planted on the ground, you were climbing a tower of physics objects? So if you twisted in place, like your feet would like throw the physics objects around. Okay. Anyway,
Make that. All right.
I don't know what your mechanics are. there.
Whoever heard me say that, make it.
I don't know what your mechanic. I don't know what the wind condition is. You gotta get to the top of the tower without breaking it. I don't know how you do that. Anyway, next question.
Let's see here.
That's not a question.
No, Ori's pinging me on here. I'm sorry, Ori. I'm not able to answer you here. Let's see here.
Unless he has an answer for one of those questions.
No, he said something should give a warning, but it was a little bit vague. I don't know what.
Oh yeah, we were talking earlier today with the collision thing.
Where
it,
we
it
had-
should throw a warning in your blueprint, but
Yeah,
it's
so-
currently not.
So yeah, there should be somewhere in your log, somewhere where the character was losing his mind, like really moving all over the place. So
Yeah.
there should be log spam for that if you're trying to debug.
Yep.
That's what he's saying. All right, can we press our characters through gaps and cracks? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you change the collision settings on your character to kind of like ignore whatever. This comes down to collision channel settings and that capsule shape, where we made them really slim in that capsule. You could actually take off a lot of the physics of the character itself. You're staring at me.
so the
staring me.
capsule is going to be the one thing
Oh,
that,
okay.
that doesn't. That's going to be like, no, I'm not going through
Yeah,
a gap too small.
that's the one that you
However,
have to adjust. The mesh will just
the mesh will be like, fine,
yeah, it'll just go through.
my shoulder's through there. I'm gonna, I'm squish.
It'll start to compress down.
It will not look right.
No, it actually creates kind
Um,
of a bizarre effect if you don't set up your like the weights
Yeah.
and constraints proper. Yeah.
Yeah, he might break his
But
arms.
that might be what
pop
you're
off.
going for. I mean, I don't know what
I don't
your
know.
game
Yeah,
looks like. so-
Jello dude.
Yeah, if you want. So that's that. Does this work in multiplayer? Can we replicate this?
Oh.
We didn't try replicating it, but
Instinct says no.
I mean, it's a rendering thing.
Instinct says no. Mainly because a lot of the physics stuff isn't replicated.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, talking with Ori about this, I don't know, a year ago, year and a half ago, it was a long time.
Mm.
The answer was like, no, we're not gonna fit. We're not gonna.
Ori just
replicate.
pinged me. He says no.
He says no. He said nope, nope.
So
All right.
that's your answer.
Done. Next.
Next question here is, Can you please stand on ramp? Oh, that was part of the IK stuff. They were trying to see if it would look good as an IK replacement. We can,
I can go stand on the ramp for you. It's not
yeah.
gonna look great.
Wake up! I'm gonna start throwing stuff at Clint. Yeah. So as you can see, the foot still floats in the air there,
Yeah.
which was what you were kind of trying to solve with IK. Oh wait, no, the foot isn't.
Wait.
The
His foot isn't simulating.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on, let's go back
Let's
to that
hang
real
on.
quick.
Yeah, set up the foot real fast. We'll show you what the foot looks like when we put him on a ramp and try to do that, and kind of pseudo replace IK.
Pelvis. Do not include self. Do not include self. Compile. I think that's just doing something to the upper arm. So we're already flopping around here, right? All right.
Durzo says he did replicate it, and it was surprisingly well. And
It might have been Ori was saying no to something else. Remember,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
stream delay.
oh no, he says no. The answer is I don't know.
Okay, the
Stream delay.
answer is no.
Okay, but I don't know. Good work, Durzo.
Maybe something might be replicating, or I mean, it's not completely deterministic, but if your animation is replicating pretty well, the forces might be the same across the board.
Might look all right.
It might look fine, but it may not be exactly replicated.
Yeah.
It's the difference between replication, physics as this position of this physics body is actually being sent comparatively to we're processing the position on the other side, running the skeletal mesh through its, through everything, and then physics animation kicking in and just kind of looking the same.
Yeah. So the
but as for the IK thing, you can see that.
So as one of the comments here from John
toe implanted?
0531 says, it looks like he's hooked to a harness by his waist. Correct. He is hooked to a harness in the capsule. The capsule is really what he is. The mesh is just kind of like hanging on to the capsule.
Yeah, so if we
So that's why I was thinking like he'll just look like he's kind of hanging there, even if we do make him have uneven steps, because he is.
Right. Yeah,
that
'cause
capsule is.
the
what he
capsule is what's on the ground here.
Yeah, that's actually what
Right.
determines what the character's position is.
Right. So
the
if
mesh
you-
is just a rendering of a
I
character.
mean, we could make this maybe a little better for
Illusion is all that matters. Correct.
If we go into, let's go to our viewport really quick. Let's lower our guy by a tick because we raised him by a tick.
Okay, just lower him down just a little, see if that looks a little better. That's what they're suggesting.
And you see, well, here's the thing. Like you can see, we're already trying to fight,
Yeah, this.
and we start derp. Right. Okay, so that doesn't look great. And then if we come up on the stairs here, like
he twists his ankles and he kind of stands on his ankles a bit, but I mean,
like if you were making a marionette game,
Yeah,
guys,
actually, yeah.
nailed it.
this would be fantastic for that. Like I was saying earlier. Like,
Except for the fact it looks like his toes imploded.
yeah, the toe itself is a problem. It just looks like I slammed into something and
Yeah, we
reversing
broke
itself.
his toes, guys.
Yeah. So if you're gonna set up a character for this, you probably don't want to have tiny parts like toes
Yeah,
or individual fingers, because it works better with kind of like
Yeah,
large blobby.
the big blobby bits.
Yeah, like
The fact that his toe has a physics
arms
body
and
was always
such.
kind of weird in this, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, again, going back to the IK question, no, just no. Use IK. I mean, it took me a little bit, but I finally got his feet placed in what could be considered a semi-normal position, except for
He would fall forward
he should be
immediately.
cratered right now.
Yeah.
He should just,
Eh.
and we're done.
Yep. All right.
All right, next question.
Alrighty. So. The people are grasping at ideas in the chat. Yes, you guys can probably come up with a bunch of different little ways to solve
That's part
it.
of the fun.
Yeah, that's part of the game.
At the same time,
development
it's
fun.
already solved. It's called IK.
we can come up with this, but yeah, let's help out everybody here. Does this open up limbs for line casting / ray trace?
What does it? Read that one
No,
more
that's the whole thing. Does this open up limbs for line casting / ray trace?
time. Yeah, you can hit them.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you've
In
always been able to
comparison,
hit them.
well, no. Remember what we saw was
Right. Yes.
no this
By comparison to the blended animation skeleton
blended
stuff.
animation with
Yeah.
the simulated physics stuff. Yeah, no, this works.
Yeah, this
You
one
can
will
totally clip. A dude could be running at you like waving his arms around, right? And you could totally like blow off his arm.
still. Yeah.
You'd be able to hit those.
All right. Can one exclude specific bones from physical animations or set strings of bones individually? Yes. So
yeah,
we did get to cover that one earlier.
It's a little weird, but
It does look a little funky, but it does seem to affect it.
for the animation, no. For what we did, it looked fine. Like doing the whole arm, soft, hard, soft,
Mhm,
whatever.
mhm.
If you were to do something popped in my head, like a snake with a metal cylinder, like stuck in a metal cylinder, and you have joints through there for whatever reason. Like the metal cylinder will eventually bend, right? Like all the animation might drive around it, but as soon as that metal cylinder, if it's rigged to do so, hits something where the physical animation can't match animation, it's going to bend around it. So you just got to be careful on some of those kind of things.
All right.
What else we got?
Let's see here. Let's see. When is the standing up system coming? Actually, we kind of got to do that. He's joking about this is the fall down system, apparently. But
Right.
actually, we did get a couple questions here. Can I have units recover from full physics simulation? Well, basically, we're getting questions in here. A few of these are, I have a character, I have them completely ragdoll. How do I make it look proper when he gets back up? Instead of it just kind of like popping into place.
Well, one, you're going to need animation.
Yep.
2, this is a really good system to kind of in between
Mm-hmm.
get to where you need to be. Lots of times what you'll do is you'll have like an on your face or an on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Because most ragdolls end up in that. I mean, or
because that's the way that you're kind of like shoulders, chest force.
Yeah, right. You're
force
going
you
to hit your
land.
shoulder and you're just going to roll onto your back, or you're going to roll onto your chest. And then from there, you essentially blend into an animation of you pushing yourself up. The physical animation component could be used to add a little more life to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about making sure that your animation is playing and is in the correct position, which I think is the hard part that a lot of people run into. It's like, well, I've ragdolled my dude and he's across the map, but my collision capsule's here. So wait a minute. You need to take your collision capsule over to your ragdoll. You need to make sure everything's aligned in the position where it needs to be aligned, which might require a little bit of math. And then you blend between those, and physical animation blending into it would probably actually help quite a bit.
All righty.
So it's a longer setup is all. I mean, there's not an easy solution. You got to think about it.
So, okay, interesting enough, Ori's saying that they actually have been kind of working on a good system for that. So,
really?
Yeah, go figure.
This means nothing.
This
There are
means
which camera? No promises.
Yeah.
All right.
But
no promises, but it sounds like they're working on something.
It sounds like we're working on some sort of a solution with what we already have that will make it a little bit more straightforward on how to do such a thing in games, because it's such a generic thing to have to do.
It is kind of a generic
like
thing.
Any kind of GTA or whatever style game. All right. So we have a couple questions in here that I'm going to lump into kind of one question because it is very related. It's can I use physics to have a unit get blown back from an explosion and then also have them do this? And the other question is about can you extract velocities from physics simulation to drive capsule component? Basically, if I throw a grenade in the room, I want it to pop, send his actual capsule flying off, but then he also kind of like, and like does that thing where like a whole blowback happens, is what it sounds like they're trying to make.
Yes.
So
No, the answer is yes.
And the answer is yes. Yeah. The answer is that it's totally feasible. All you have to do is like we did with the driving the timeline, as well, I was going to say
literally, I mean,
like, as you get more, as you
I believe
get more like knocked around, you drive it up versus down to
right there. So actually, I have a bunch of I have some really weird zombie AI that I built, and essentially their movement is completely physics driven.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of fun. Actually, we just used a radial physics thing, the physics force, and you're just like radial force, bloop, and it explodes, and you knock them back. Now here's the thing: the force will go off, and it should affect your physics guy. So what we can do. Let's add a component. Radial force. All right. And I'm going to do a velocity change because it's usually a little bit easier for me to deal with. And where's I believe there's an effect self or something. Well, object types to affect one thing. So we're going to affect a pawn. Is our mesh a pawn? Actually, we changed it weirdly to a world static, so we'll just change this to pawn real quick. And that radial force should apply physics to us. We'll just need to make sure that we get the right strength and everything. We'll just make it absolutely ridiculous. Like 100,000 with a velocity change, and just in case it's not being used there, we'll just jack this thing to whatever. Oh yeah, don't ignore owning actor, we'll leave that on. And then I'll set it so that it's behind our guy.
His first comment, put it off center.
Yeah, of course, right? Like we want to be able to like throw the dude, right?
Yeah, we don't want his organs.
Actually, and we'll
everywhere.
do something like this, right?
That way he'll blow up.
Yeah. Then we'll go to our event graph, and do we have a button for like E?
No, I don't think E's in use right
We
now.
have a jump, input touch.
Maybe we could just use E.
Yeah, we'll
It's like
just,
the easiest thing to
we'll
do.
just use E. Keyboard E.
I mean,
E. There it is.
Huh.
Yeah, it's an easy way to look for stuff like that.
yeah, keyboard, letter.
Press, we need this, and then I believe it's like fire or something. F-I-R-E? No. What's it called? There's...
What? For, like the activate one? Or
Yeah,
whatever?
it's not activate.
Well, no, that's just
It's-
what. You can just go into the components settings itself.
Oh, yeah. This one? No.
No, it's whatever its name is.
It's a radial force. Well, there's no radial force one.
What? Type in radial force. We're just not seeing it. There it is, radial force component down there.
Yeah, it was called fire impulse. I must have
oh.
spelled fire. Whatever. Okay, so this should affect our dude. I don't think it's going to affect the capsule because of we're using a character movement component.
Did we set it up with enough strength?
What do you think? That was weird. What did we do?
I mean, do we have it set to auto activate?
No, it shouldn't auto-activate. Oh, wait, yeah. Oh, hold on. Yeah, hold on. We kind of...
Oh yeah, it's just got a continuous force
yeah, it had a
applied
continuous
to it.
force instead of an impulse. So our arm is
So
flipping
there's
out.
that arm, but that's what we set
And
up.
then we...
yeah. So you
Actually,
can
it does affect our component as well. It does affect our capsule. So as a velocity change, maybe a little much.
it's a little strong.
It's a little strong. Let's take that back down to 100. But we know it works.
I think 100 is going to be a little bit too weak.
Well, that's okay. See? Yeah. By the way, I'm hitting E. This is jump. All right, just so we're clear. This is jump. This is E.
little bunny hop. Yeah, and the capsule is clearly being shoved along with it.
And so are his legs and everything.
So theoretically, you can make a character that's entirely driven by this wacky physics, and
Yeah,
then
Off screen, I pumped it up to 500.
okay.
Bloop.
Oh, okay, so that
Bloop.
500, that's making a little bit more of a pop.
Yeah. Wall.
Ho-ho.
Wait. I'm Superman.
Da, 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 da.
Landed it
Super derp.
with my flailing arm.
Oh,
All right.
justice.
Justice. All right. Do we have any more questions?
Nailed it. Best stream ever.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna
Um,
leave this running. This is.
oh. Let's see. We did that one. We did the reacting to forces. Any way to attach 2D sprites to the bones instead of a skeletal mesh?
Yeah.
I mean, you can attach a 2D sprite to one of the bones, but this thing affects skeletal meshes in particular. I don't think you could.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
So yes, you could attach a
Yes.
bunch of sprites to this
Mm-hmm.
as a skeletal mesh, and then it could totally have a physics asset, and it could totally be affected by physics.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's just going to look like a guy
caveats
with
are going to be it's going to be really kind of weird looking,
Yeah,
especially.
it's gonna look strange. It's gonna look like a guy holding it's gonna be like a plane with a sprite.
Well,
on
I mean,
it,
you
and
could
then it'll-
you could constrain all of your joints to kind of operate in a plane, so that way your physics components or your physics bodies don't go really crazy. But then you're talking about building a very specific rig for a very specific purpose.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just accept that some things are going to get ordered incorrectly, or you force the order or force the draw order, so that way, like, your dude's facing from the side and you're always going to have your hand on top of your lower arm, on top of your upper arm, on top of your chest, so on and so forth. You would have to kind of force that layer stuff just in case, you push him and his arm clips through and things like that, which totally could happen.
Yeah, one way or the other, I think it's going to look a little odd to have a 2D sprite attached to a 3D. But
Well,
I mean,
but that's the thing.
Your...
It's a perfectly well. I think I've seen somebody do this.
Have you?
I'm pretty sure somebody's done this recently. Has been talked about, quote, skeletal meshes for 2D sprites kind of deal.
Yeah.
And doing it as like, yeah, it's a thing. So whatever.
All right. I believe you. I've just never done it myself. Let's see here. With regards to physics assets, what will be new in 4.13 that's not in 4.12? We'll probably have to go over those ones with Mike Fricker and the other developers, but I can tell you right now, the physics profile thing that we have
thing is new.
Because of the physical animations, that's new. And I think that's kind of one of our bigger ones. We can probably get more.
It's basically just that.
I'm going to let you in a little secret here. Working on the release notes, there's going to be a lot in there, so definitely read through them.
Yeah, really, it doesn't look like anything's really different in the fat.
No, it's not a whole lot of overhaul.
Outside of the profiles thing, it's not a huge overhaul for everything.
Yep. All right, and our last question that I have in here that hasn't been answered already is, can I programmatically edit physics assets, say in a text editor?
Well, no, they're binary assets.
No, I think he means like set all the settings in it and whatnot.
No, they're binary assets.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, right. Yeah.
For the specific question Azix asked, no.
Yeah, you're right.
Can you edit them
the
at runtime? And I really wish Ori would pop up on your screen again here. I'm assuming you can make not real edits. Like, yes, you can. It's all in what physics will allow us to do.
Mm-hmm.
And how much performance you're willing to tank. Like creating a lot of new physics assets and things like that. You can hurt your performance pretty bad because it has to cycle them into the entire scene. Editing their settings should be fine at runtime, regardless. Generating their shapes and whatever, yeah, you should be able to do that.
Okay.
However, like if you're talking about specifically creating a physics asset, one of these, down here.
No, you just edit, not create.
Create or edit. It's a binary asset. You're going to have to deal with that. The data, though, could be loaded and then edited programmatically on the fly rather than saving it to the new asset. There are ways. If you're in the C++ already, there are ways.
All right.
So
cool. Well, that is our last question that we haven't covered in some way, shape, or form. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and checking out the stream. I hope that you learned something. I know that I did. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
We made a wacky character. We showed you all
how still waving on the screen.
Yeah,
but Clint's not showing him.
Yeah, I see how it is.
He should picture that guy.
There you go.
Just down there in the corner the entire time.
That works. Yeah, so he's waving bye, everybody. We'll see you all on Thursday. We are going to do the game jam results that we were supposed to have last week. Unfortunately, everything fell apart. It was actually a couple other things fell through, so we couldn't end up having the stream one way or the other. So thank you all for your patience with us as we've been fixing up stuff. But yeah, Thursday we're going to have game jam results, maybe some other special stuff. Can't really say what yet.
Oh, you're so coy.
I know. But we'll see you all then. Thanks so much for coming out.
Yep, take it easy, guys.
Later.
Laters.